Turn around and face the camera.
All set?
Yep, I'm good.
All right, it's 5 o'clock. Call the meeting order. Join us in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is that?
You want me to look through those?
Well, if you want to start signing some of them, checking out the check register, if you don't mind. Even if you do, I'm gonna check out the check register anyway.
You're mayor for one tonight, Mr. Brown?
Oh, I'm just warming up, Mr. Bud.
Mind if I ask a silly question?
Don't get a silly answer.
As we go through these things and we're putting our signatures on them, I mean, I would almost mean they're gonna approve it, right? I mean, shouldn't it be approved before it's signed? These things?
If you'd like to do that, you can.
I don't know, it's just a question. Is that a technical question that needs a professional answer? Good. I'll take off my thinking cap now.
Andrew, it's Pioneer Mechanical. 1, 2, 3.
Plumbing.
Pass the checks over here.
Oops. Sorry about that, Steve.
Pioneer Mechanical.
Pioneer, yes.
Should have something to do with plumbing.
They had to repair the dishwasher in the kitchen. This was for a relief valve on the dishwasher booster that cost $211. They replaced the water cooler in the junior high school hallway.
The what in the?
The water cooler
Water cooler.
in the middle school hallway, and the cooling unit was $120 with installation and shipping. You know, to $1,603.79.
Take those back if you want. Andy. Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I don't think of,
It does when you're looking through this.
are they, you know?
Doesn't matter if there's a water.
Doesn't matter to you, and it doesn't matter to Steve.
Andrew. The Prizios, a couple of oil changes. Oh, we got some buses that hold 30 quarts and some buses that hold 42. And there's one in here for replace 32 quarts and another one for 38. You find out what's going on with our, you didn't keep them in order?
I did put them back in order. So This is the next one after last pile.
So what goes in?
It would, yeah.
Okay.
It's back.
Can I have a motion to approve the manifest?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Minutes of the last meetings. We start with September 18th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for September 18th with the corrections made.
My name is spelled wrong on that. My name is spelled wrong, has that been corrected?
Oh, no.
There's several corrections that
Oh,
I
again?
have as well.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
That's okay. Page 3, first sentence. Even though Jerry is great, I'm not sure he's a day. I think it should say it was a great day instead of I
So nice.
on that. On page 5, third paragraph down, the professional development was for math in focus. Math and focus should be capitalized because it's the name of a program. Toward the bottom of the page, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
I know which one you're talking
10 sentences up. I don't think the board insulted
about.
anybody.
No, it was my dragon program, sorry.
So I think you could even eliminate that insult, yeah. On page 8, fifth paragraph, second sentence from the bottom, Tim feels that this should eventually lead to bullying around the school instead of bullying. Bullying. The one that starts another issue. Paragraph that starts another issue, the second line from the bottom. And then on page 9, the third paragraph down, the second to last sentence, SWIFT is the overall framework, not program. It's a framework.
Good.
I was just noticing that, I think, I might be wrong, but Priscilla, you have an S in your name, right, before the C?
Yes.
So that's just something to make a note of, to go right through the whole thing and correct those. Nope, it's in some spots.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? But, you made, no, you made the motion? And you second it as amended?
Yep.
I'll second as amended. All in favor? Aye.
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 October 2nd.
I have one on page 13. Second paragraph under superintendent update. Resubmit their email addresses, THEIR, rather than THERE. And I believe at the bottom of the page, under committee reports, the SAU withdrawal committee, withdraw, I believe, is one word. At the end of that sentence.
amended. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Public comment. Judy?
I watched the meeting from last week, and when you were talking about the parking lot and putting it out to bid, you said that the bidding policy was $5,000.
3,000.
Well, I looked it up and on your website, and apparently in August you changed it to $5,000.
Yep.
Yes, we did.
And I just wanted to bring to your attention that I don't think you can do that, because the $3,000 was a vote of the townspeople on a warrant article several years ago. So I think in order for you to change that policy, you have to have a warrant article asking the townspeople to change it. We had that discussion, Steve, at an SAU meeting when Andrew wanted to make all the bidding policies the same for the SAU in Milton and Wakefield back the year before in June.
I'm not sure, because the town is 5,000. So are you sure about that was done to a warrant article?
There was a petition warrant article several years ago.
All
And we
right.
had this discussion at the SAU meeting that we couldn't change Wakefield because of that. I'm almost positive of it. I don't know if Pricilla may remember that conversation or not.
I do recall the conversation.
I think back at that time, I had looked it up.
All right, we can look into that.
Which kind of brings me to my next question of the school board adopting policies. And from what I can see, this policy was changed and adopted in the same night. And your policy adoption says that you're supposed to do 2 meetings.
Yeah, we've already addressed that.
So from now on, will you be doing 2 meetings? The first and second reading?
Could you cite the policy, Judy, that you're talking about?
BGB? The purpose of the 2 readings is to give the public's warning and opportunity to voice their opinion. And it's rather difficult to do that if you're bringing up the policies and adopting them the same night.
I don't know what I can do.
Yeah, we already are addressing, I thought Bonnie had something, but we were already addressing it. As a matter of fact, we discussed that at the policy subcommittee earlier, which will be brought to the full board at the next school board meeting.
Okay, and my last concern I have is over the cost of the parking lot.
Yeah.
$500,000. I just want the public to know that the previous school board had absolutely no intentions of that parking lot costing that amount of money. And in this economy, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely, I agree. I was shocked when I saw, but that is just a guesstimate. That's not a firm by any stretch of the means. I would certainly have a problem with spending $500,000 on that. It has to be out of line.
Well,
But-
my concern is that you're including, Mr. Adams seemed to be including a lot of other work around the property. And I think the reason that we went forward with purchasing that was for a safety issue, to try to alleviate the crowding in the parking lot and the safety issue of kids and cars and dismissals. And I would think that you would make it your priority to do just the parking lot and get the parking lot and the roadway through. I see no reason to hot top around the exterior of this school. We also had that discussion on several occasions in the facilities meeting prior. If there's any addition to be put on this building, it would be put on at the end of this building. Or if we were to put a cafeteria on this building, it would be put on that end of the building. Hot topping those two areas seems like a waste of time if at some time in the future you may be digging it back up again. So I don't see including that part of the project with it at all. It makes no sense to me. For the cost of the project, we're gonna have to name this roadway or something. I mean, it sounds like something like a federal grant should take care of or something with the cost of it. It sounds like a federal project. We should probably name it the Steve Brown Memorial Throughway or something.
Memorial?
Yeah.
I'm still here, I don't,
You're not gonna be if you ask the townspeople for $500,000.
I didn't ever said I was asking them for
I'm
$500,000.
just saying.
No, I agree, I think that number is very high. I was shocked when I saw it. But I do think it would be a good idea, while we're doing something with that parking lot, to probably, at a minimum, fix the sidewalk in front of the school. You could probably get a much better price while they were here to have them fix that sidewalk while they were here, so, but,
Well, in
yeah.
the interest of making sure that the parking lot project gets done, you might be better off to break that up into two projects. You could put it on the same warrant, but at least don't lose the parking lot because the price is so high.
Well, at 500,000, I think it's gonna be broken up to more than two parts, because look, I have an issue with 500,000. Anybody else? All right. Correspondence. Mr. Terzi?
Mr. D'Agostino has one item for that.
I believe at the last meeting, Tim had mentioned taking one of the sheds from the land here and transporting it over to the town garage.
Right.
The town truck can't do it because it's too high and it would end up interfering with the wires, the electrical wires and the telephone wire. So you got a price from Crowels, it would cost $225 for them to tow it over to the transportation area. So I just wanted the board to know that if they want us to go ahead and do that.
Crowels?
What was the cost?
Pardon?
What was the cost, remember?
225?
225 is what Crowell said they would charge to tow it over to the town garage.
And is that why there's some floor cleaning stuff out in equipment in front of it? Was that removed to move the shed, do you know?
I'm not quite sure. I couldn't answer that question.
I don't know, what,
Is the town doing it in favor?
the town was gonna do it as a favor, right, but they
They
can't,
just don't have the appropriate equipment to move it.
without interfering with lines, wires, telephone, electric.
I guess I don't really necessarily understand that because they have all the equipment. I mean, they have backhoes,
Yeah, it's a
forklifts.
small,
They have
small
backhoes,
shed.
forklifts, all of that stuff, so I don't understand if Crowels can move it on a low bed, why they can't move it on one of their low beds.
I don't know.
I guess I just, maybe we just don't have the time.
Could you, get some more information on that for us, to see why, because, yeah, I mean, you would think Crowell's, flatbed's gonna be higher than, does the town have a low bed?
He's probably using a Ram truck.
Oh, yeah,
Ram
why
truck.
But that's still, you know,
Yeah, once it's up.
it's higher than a low bed,
Yeah.
and doesn't the town have a low bed? Can you
That's
get
up
some
to
more
Tim.
information and get back to us on that, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. New business. We're holding off the policy till next meeting, but we forgot to, make the recommendations of the facilities at the last, meeting. So, it was the facilities subcommittee recommendation that spend, the $5,000 for Harriman for the site analysis, 25 to start, and we'll receive the remaining 2,500 when we receive the site analysis, and $4,100 to rekeying the building. Lauren?
Can we have minutes for all of our meetings, like the policy committee and the other ones that I take part in? I don't have any facility committee meeting minutes. And it's hard for me I want to know what's going on. I understand that I'm not on the committee, but I would like a little more detail on what's going on to make decisions on what I want to vote to go forward on and stuff. So do you have meeting
Those are
minutes?
motions.
Or, I don't know who your secretary is. Are you the
Bree takes
secretary
all
for
of
all
them.
of those? Can I ask that we have those included in our packet then?
I don't make the packets, but
Can I ask?
So you would like subcommittee meeting minutes in
I
our
would,
full board packets?
Because I'd like to I want to make educated decisions on what I'm voting for.
We can do
Because
that.
this is great, but it doesn't give me the detail that I require.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, are you asking to table this
No, I understand what both of these are, but
in the
I
future?
would just like to have minutes in the future so I understand what's going on in the changes.
All right, can I have a motion to, spend the $5,000 for the site analysis with the Harriman Company?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, is there a second?
second that.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion to spend $4,100 on rekeying the building?
That's part of the discussion that we had last week.
At the facility, they want to, these keys, you can't duplicate them. And this is what the next item that they felt was important for security. So, all right, is there a second? Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Administration, principal's report.
Any questions? I have my report.
On?
I'm just really happy that the PTA is up and running again and
Yeah.
that it's going to be successful.
I would say we have our first event this Friday from 5 to 9, so it's a community event, not a fundraiser real, but really kind of reintroducing PTA back to the school and the community.
Would you like to tell the people what's kind of going on there so that
Sure,
they can come?
We have a fall festival set up for Friday night from 5 to 9 p.m. There'll be refreshments being sold, but everything else is at no cost. There'll be a movie being shown. I think it's Hotel Transylvania, an outdoor theater, and it should be a good time, and we hope we see a lot of people from the community come. And more to come, I expect.
Bro?
Do you have a special pie for pieing the principal?
I suspect there'll be many special pies.
Can we bring our own?
No, there is a distance there has to be from there, so You know, so I don't have the bloody nose, which has happened in the past.
We'll have fun. I hope we have pictures.
I think there'll be lots, I expect to be lots of pictures and, you know, filtering around on Facebook or whatever it might be.
That's wonderful.
Mr. Byrne could not be here tonight to present the discipline report. But you all have a copy of the discipline report?
Yes.
You know, and just kind of pat ourselves on the back a little bit. Last year, if you see on the page 19, on the graph, the very last graph, you know, indicates that we had about 61 referrals last year for the month of September. And just pointing out that this year, for the month of September, the second to last graph, you can see that's right about 25. So more than in half from where we were last year when we started. And that's, you know, I think a testament to the PBIS, the kids' commitment, and the teachers' commitment to ensuring they ever run a safe and respectful school. So I just want to point that out.
Any questions? All set? Student service report. Ann?
Hi.
How you
I
doing?
think I'm good. I changed the format of the student service report around a little bit with topics that I'll probably address on a monthly basis. My plan is to take this template and send it to the schools so that we can get a good report about what's happening in the schools from the people in the school. I would love any additional topics that you'd like me to be able to talk about. In professional development, we spent a lot of time this month in professional development. Kathleen and I went to both the special ed data management, dry professional development, but now we know we're doing the data input correctly. Kathleen went to catastrophic aid and 402 court placement. And I attended, Bonnie went as well with some other administrators, the Brad Kidder Annual Law Conference. The Obamacare was really quite interesting. That's a job in itself. What I attended at the Brad Kidder Law was helpful in that Jerry Zellen, who's a pretty well-known lawyer in special ed, presented some policies that were updated, some school board policies. One of which is a policy around the identification of students with disabilities. So I will be bringing forward some new policies to you in the next few months. The other policy that he updated was the Ferper policy, and that includes the videotaping of students. So I'm not sure where we'll go with that, but I think it might be important for us to be looking at that. In the schools, we did NECAP testing last week, I believe. Are we done with NECAP in Wakefield? Yep. So our special educators have been doing small group and individual sessions for students that require modifications. Monica and our school psychologist, Amy, and Jen Levitt are looking at the low scores from Ames Web to identify specific learning plans for kids on Tier 3. And in talking with Monica, she feels like they're going to really be helpful for our special educators in terms of developing plans on a yearly basis, educational plans. Monica presented the new paraprofessional development plan to our paraprofessionals. And we had a woman from Will White Consulting come in to work with our case managers on setting up life social skills training for our students with autism, and provide assistance with discrete trial, which is a very specific behavior programming for kids with autism. Bright Beginnings has had a really successful school year. We're really making an effort this year to include them in our school community. They went to Remick Falls. They had fall themes this year. They have, one time a week, they have the lower grades are getting some programming from your librarian. And I think we have grade 6 doing reading buddies with our afternoon program. So we're really trying to make it a part of the school community because they really are, that's their first, piece to the school community. So Jerry and I are going to work on that a lot. Medicaid came in and did all the training necessary for the online Medicaid tracking system. Wakefield School District received last year $77,863.74 for reimbursement. I don't know when that comes in. Do you know when it comes in, Andrew? Is it already, does it come, like, trickle in?
Yeah, it comes in
Yeah.
monthly, I believe.
Monthly.
I had a good conversation with the people at Medicaid, and there are things that we're not putting in for with regard to transportation that we are going to start putting in for. Driver costs and breaking down that a little bit, and the people at Medicaid, our MSP where we do Medicaid feel like we could almost do double what we're bringing in for reimbursement with regard to transportation. So we'll start doing that this year. And the placements haven't really changed much. And I would encourage any feedback in terms of other topics you'd like me to be able to talk about at the board meetings.
Questions?
I have a question. When you start talking about doubling money from Medicaid, that's a federal program, right? And would that mean we have double requirements or restrictions or anything like that?
No, right now, what we're putting in for reimbursement for transportation is just the cost of, I believe, the bus. But we should be putting in, for special ed students that are on buses, we should be putting in the cost of driver costs, so that would be the wages, the cost of a paraprofessional, if we might have a paraprofessional on there for a student, cost of gas, anything that has to do with transporting a special ed student, we should be getting reimbursement for. It has no requirements other than signing off that those are true services that we've provided. It's not like IDA grant or anything like that.
Thank you.
Is this just something that slipped by us in the past that we didn't know we could apply for?
I don't know. Honestly, the woman that called me and talked to me about it is a Milton resident, and she said, I'd like to see you get all the money you can get, so here's the things I see that you're not. So I said, thank you. I think that it's probably something that slips through many districts, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure I was aware prior to that conversation that you could really break it down the way she said we could break it down.
Interesting.
Yeah. Always nice to have someone that's a resident at Medicaid.
That's right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Curriculum coordinator report.
So the only thing, in addition to my report, obviously you have the science NECAP graphs, and I'll just really briefly go over it and have you take a look at the trend. It's definitely up, which is a good thing. We like seeing that, like seeing the rise of the proficient students and the decrease of the substantially below proficient students. So that's a real good indicator for both 4th and 8th grade. Any questions on the science NECAP graphs?
These tests were taken this year?
No, this was taken in the spring of last year. We get the results, unfortunately, in the fall of this year. So that's why it's a lagger as far as a lagging indicator. We wish that wasn't so, but that's the way they report it to us.
Am I correct in, like, the 2011, 12, and 2012, 13, those were new years for new teachers? We had one staff member in there for 1 year and then a new one that's continued this year on?
Only for the 7th, 8th science is what you're talking about?
Not the 4th, the 8th grade year?
Correct. And then the only additional that's not on my report is that we did have a professional growth committee meeting, a full committee meeting. Steve was there, And we did get a notice from the state that our new professional growth plan needs to be updated as of June of this year. So we'll be putting the plan together and bringing it to you when we have it. We have several subcommittees. Mr. Tercey's on one, Mr. Brown's on another, I think I'm on another, and anybody else here that was here?
Jerry.
And Jerry was on the fourth. So we have it covered as far as all the different subcommittees, and we're going to be meeting with our subcommittees and then putting the full report together for you.
Thank you, Mary.
Mr. Brown,
Yes, Mr. Tursi.
we dismiss them?
Yes, if you, Mary and Ann, if you'd like to go, and
Lovely, thank you.
you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Jerry, would you like to?
I'll stick around, that's good.
I have one question for Jerry, but it wasn't to do with this principal report.
Yeah,
Careful.
I know, I'm gonna trip my way up.
Bonnie's got a question for you, Jerry.
I just have a question in regards to how we're doing on the residency forms for Paul School.
I would take a look. I haven't looked at it in a little while.
Okay.
I can ask Sandra to do a run of it.
Because I know at the end of last year, we still had quite a few that hadn't been returned, and if we can alleviate that to confirm that
Double check to
we're
see
moving
where
in
we're
the right direction, that would be great.
Question.
Thank you.
Maybe, an update on Spaulding as well, Mr. Tursi?
I have that on my list.
I have a question for Andrew, too.
There we go. Full of questions.
Full of questions.
I guess you're gonna have to step up to the plate now, Andrew.
Andrew, I'd like to know how we're doing implementing the new policy about school lunch payment.
Good question.
How are we doing in sending out? Has the cafeteria fallen into line?
They've been sending us a report. They've been sending out letters and calling parents. And Jerry and I put a letter together that we're sending to parents that are over a certain dollar amount that we haven't been able to collect from.
Okay, and that those letters are getting sent out every 3 days?
Every week.
Every week,
Every
once a week?
Once a week.
Okay.
We run a list on Friday.
Mhm.
They usually go either Friday afternoon, so on Monday morning's mail, or they go out Monday for Tuesday morning's mail.
Okay.
Yep. And the letters are going out because I'm getting return phone calls.
Do we have a large amount of accounts receivables right now?
Larger than I'd like to see at this time of the year. So that's
More than
why-
we'd like to see at this time of the year?
Yeah, and that's why Jerry and I are quick on getting letters out so it doesn't go too bad.
Okay.
One of the problems we're running into, a lot of the kids that are on free and reduced,
Mm-hmm.
the special milk program is not included, and I think part of it is that probably the families think it is and they're not paying for it, so
Have they been informed that it's not?
it's in the correspondence when it goes out from at the beginning of the year. So I have Ruth sending out reminder letters to the parents that are involved, or the families involved in this issue, so they're aware that they have to be paying for the milk.
Okay, so that's snack milk, is that what that is?
Yeah, everything,
Yeah.
any kind of deficit, if something's being sent out, and people are responding, whether they're calling me or taking action on their own to rectify the matters.
Okay.
For all the deficits, whether it's snack milk or
Okay. Do we send home the envelopes weekly?
not any longer.
You don't?
No.
Do you think that that might help trigger parents as a reminder?
I don't think my opinion would be it's not the reminder, because even when we send out the letters, we're not getting, the letters indicate that they're deficient in paying. We're not getting a response back, so I'm not sure it's the reminder itself. I think there's people that probably could be applying for free and reduced lunch that aren't. People that are just not paying and
And
that haven't had to in the past.
Okay. Are those applications being sent with
Yes, they
that
are.
letter?
Yeah, and again, there's action being taken, people are paying and people are applying.
Okay. Is it possible to ask that when you do your reports monthly for us, that we get included what the accounts receivable is for the cafe services program?
Is this something that people back, is that public knowledge?
I don't necessarily want names, I just want amounts.
Oh, okay, just what the total
I want
is.
amounts and how many letters we've been sent out and and how that's working. If that's okay.
Yeah, fine by me. All right, SAU 64. Mr. Turson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two items tonight. The first is just a reminder that the area board meeting with Rochester is October 21st, which is Monday night, 6 p.m. in the school department boardroom.
And it's best that we all attend.
Yes. Or at minimal representation, by all means. I'll leave it to the board.
It's actually, I believe this room is in the recreation building.
I believe so. I've not been there, but
I believe it's on the
there.
recreation building, first floor, second floor, all the way down
Spaulding.
at the
building
Rochester Rec
behind
Department.
Spaulding.
Do you know, you have Spaulding High School and then you have the
Activities, whatever that thing
the
is called.
Spaulding Recreational
Yeah, I know where it
Department,
is.
that's where it is. in
Okay.
there.
The brick building behind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Block building, I should say.
Block
Sorry,
building,
Mr. Fogg. Technical term.
Yes.
But I did get a request as to whether the board would like to place some agenda items on that agenda for Monday night. So I wanted to ask you if you have any agenda items so that I can get back to Rochester.
Well, I think we need to address the 10%.
Okay.
I'd like to see that probably go up if at all possible.
So as an item to increase the 10%?
Yes.
I think we also, at the SAU Withdrawal Committee, Rochester showed possible interest in our SAU or Wakefield joining their SAU, so we'd like to have a brief discussion on that to open the lines of communication there.
I'm not sure about Steve's statement, but I think my position is, will Rochester allow us to send more than 10% to other schools?
That's, yeah.
That's what
We're limited to 10% now. I think people would like a choice, so, and we're pushing about 9% on average, aren't we?
We're at the 10% now for
We're at
this
the
year.
10,
Mhm.
we're already at the 10.
Already
so.
there.
So maybe we can open up those lines of discussion and see
Right.
if they're willing to renegotiate the agreement.
Is that like the first time we've been that close?
It is. I think it's the first time we've ever been at that 10% max.
Well, I had
don't
asked
know.
before, and I think it was 8.9 or something, and now he's saying we're up to 10 now.
At each grade level or just a couple?
Just at the freshman class.
The freshman class.
Is that it, Mr. Tursi?
And so those two items for the agenda?
Yes.
All right. And I want to give you an update on the residency forms for our students that are attending Spaulding. I believe when I first reported, we were at 179 students that we still didn't have residency forms, and we're now down to 39.
Perfect.
That some letters had been sent out, I believe today. Those letters went out as a second notice to the parents or guardians of those students, and Rochester will be sending an alert now to them for a reminder. In the letter, I stated that as a second notice, the next notice will be to coordinate with the truancy officer a home visit to confirm residency. So we keep trying to dwindle those numbers down as early as possible prior to the first billing.
Very good. Good job.
We might want to put that on the agenda for Rochester too, so that they know that we're on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because that came up
Because that
last
was a
year.
big concern for them last
Well.
year. So if they know that we're taking it seriously, they will appreciate that.
And I would like to mention that the staff at Spaulding High School has been very, very good to work with and very cooperative in helping us get these residency forms. So it's been a pleasure working with the staff members at Spaulding to make sure we're getting these forms in. It's a good,
Thank them
it's a
for
good
their
relationship.
assistance.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Old business?
One item on that.
All right, go ahead.
I want to bring up the last meeting, I had presented a letter from the Paraprofessionals Association requesting to open the contract and negotiate around benefits. I did have an opportunity to speak with a representative from the association, specifically around the intent, and the intent is, just as the article states, to open up negotiations around possible benefits. So I feel that we need to formalize that process at this point and sit as a representatives from the board and meet with the Paraprofessional Association to have that discussion, because it was negotiated and approved as a contract. So
That's Bob and I, is that correct?
I believe so. So if you'd like, I can coordinate that meeting.
Yes.
That would be great. It has to be after, it has to be like 4 o'clock for me?
Yep. You as well, right? Is there any day that doesn't work?
Fridays.
Fridays?
Yeah, no Fridays.
Okay.
All right, you just said that it was negotiated in the contract.
Correct.
What was negotiated in the contract?
It's Article 16.3 that states specifically that there's the right in there to open the contract to negotiate around benefits. So it's a specific article in there that was approved unanimously by the board.
Fine.
Can I ask for our meeting that we have information in regards to the Obama Affordable Care Act, because and where that stands right now, because if it's an hourly thing, like we heard at the law conference, then that might be one situation, but that where that all hasn't been approved yet and was delayed, I don't know where we would stand on that. So I guess any information we can have beforehand to prepare us for that meeting would be beneficial.
Well, the law is if the employee works 30 or more hours, you have to offer them health insurance. If you offer health insurance, they have to be part of that. You don't have to offer it to anyone working less than 30 hours.
And our paraprofessionals work how many hours a week?
6.5 hours a day. I think it's 32 hours a week, 32.5 hours a week.
And is that the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act requirements, or the requirements now?
That's what the requirements are with the Affordable Act. But the requirement doesn't require the school district or any employer to contribute to the plan. You just have to make it available to them,
Okay.
which currently is what the district is doing. I'm getting some information on any discrimination penalties if they exist in the care, because I want to make sure that we're not discriminating against one group versus another group and what we're contributing to the plan.
Can you please just make sure that Bob and I have the information that we're going to need to be informed going into the meeting?
Yep.
That would be great, thank you.
Anything else?
I just comment on that, though, I'll coordinate a meeting sooner than later, obviously, because we're starting our budget discussions this week, on Thursday. So we'll try and coordinate possibly something for next week, if that's okay.
Yep.
Is that it, Mr. Francie? On the
That
old
is it,
business?
Mr. Chair. Thank you.
I have one thing I just want to mention to the board. I was able to, working with Tony in the town hall, we got fuel oil locked until June 30th at $3.32 a gallon.
Nice.
You know,
And-
32 cents.
That's for number two diesel.
Oh, 19. And how far out are we locked in on the propane?
Both oil and propane until June 30th
June 30th?
of next year, of 2014.
Propane's $1.60. All right. Yeah, it is. $1.60. School board business? Good, you don't have anything?
Yes, sir.
All right, committee reports? All right. Mary already discussed the professional development.
The policy committee met, and we'll be introducing policies for next meeting.
Yep.
Transportation Committee met last meeting, and we discussed a few items on that as far as GPS system, porta potty, numbers, that we're gonna get some numbers together for that, for what the cost of that was. I think that was it.
All right. Public comment. Judy?
I would like to strongly suggest that when you do negotiations, that you have Attorney Peter Phillips at those negotiations. There is no administration or previous school board member that will be on that committee. And Attorney Phillips is very aware of all the discussions that took place regarding Article 16 on the health insurance, and was very aware of why things were set up the way that they were. And I would very strongly suggest that he be at that meeting.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
I thought that the price from Harriman with the last meeting was $4,500. Did I hear that wrong? Wasn't it? I thought for some reason I recalled 4,500.
I believe it was 5,000, was it?
45? Can you look into that, Andrew? And make sure what it is, if it's,
We already approved it, so how do you do that?
well, we approved it for the 5,000, and we just double check and make sure that if it is 4,500, that they only be paid 4,500.
I
Judy?
just have one other thing. I had asked, I believe it's Ann, the new special
Yes, and Keeble, yeah.
Ann Keebler, how many Bright Beginnings students we have. And she said 10. And I asked how many were typical students. 2. Are we charging tuition for them?
We'll have to get back to you on that.
Because I thought we had, at one point, Connie Twombly, I think it was, had a concern about enrolling typical students without charging tuition. And that was a couple of years ago, and I thought that we...
I do believe that it's part of the program to have regular students in the program. I believe that that's part of the, I think that that's part of the program
How
to.
are they chosen and who gets the benefit of free?
I'm not 100% sure. We're gonna have to discuss that. It could be first come. I have no idea. I don't believe that there are very many positions available, but we can look into that and get back to you.
Thank you.
What else? So,
Mr. Brown, could you tell me what RSA 91A 4:21 is? RSA 91A 4:21.
Minutes and includes disability instructions.
according to this, it's minutes and records available for public inspection.
So we went into a non-public in a facilities meeting under that RSA?
I don't know what you're talking about.
According to the minutes of the facilities meeting, You, Mr. Brown, made a motion to go into non-public, and this is the RSA stated. And I just wondered
That was my typo.
what was it supposed to be?
Nothing. We don't go into non-public on
No.
facilities.
We'd go into non-public under facilities if we were to discuss security.
I looked it up and I just couldn't find it, so I'm trying to figure out what it was. I gave the chair a request for a correction in the minutes, and I just wondered why you didn't address that
It was addressed.
in public.
We handed it over to the minute taker to take care of it.
But shouldn't that be stated that you were going to make that correction?
I didn't see your correction, to be perfectly honest with you, but it was forwarded over, so.
I handed it to you on a piece of paper.
It's
I
this.
saw you look at it and then hand it to Bob.
I didn't say that. I said, but I didn't understand what your correction was because I didn't see your correction in the minutes. Or your request of a correction within the minutes. So I'm still not clear as to what your correction is. But it has been passed over to have it corrected.
And you decided not to table the minutes of the September 18th meeting because you had corrections. When did you do that? You said that Brandy had the corrections. When did you give them to her? Because I don't remember
This
seeing
one?
you give them corrections in public meeting.
Yeah, that was at the last meeting. October, was it October 2nd? Yeah, the last meeting. You voted to table those, to have the corrections taken care of.
Well, I know you voted to table and you said that Brandy had the corrections, and I just wondered how they got into her possession. Because I'm here taping and listening, and I didn't hear anybody say we have corrections and we're going to hand them over to the
Good, Bonnie.
Some of us don't necessarily voice the corrections. We hand them over like past board and present board do. We highlight them and give our corrections and give them to her that way.
I think we always stated that corrections. Way back, we didn't. We used to email them to Harriet,
Exactly.
right? And then we found out that we couldn't do that. We had to state it in public.
Well, we will take that under advisement.
Well, the problem was there was there was so many that we felt it would probably be best to, instead of taking an hour and a half of doing corrections, that we just gave Brandy our corrections and allowed her to correct.
And one more question. This site analysis for Harriman, I don't know who Harriman is. You made a motion for 5,000? Now, if that 3,000 is actually correct, then you really can't do that, can you?
Isn't the 3,000 the minimum amount to be bid on? So the taxpayer is actually, if something costs as little as $3,000, it needs to go out to bid. If
No,
it
it's
costs,
over.
yeah, so obviously if it's $5,000, it needs to go out to bid, but
Right. But you made a motion and approved the $5,000 tonight.
Well, that was a recommendation from Mr. Adams and Mr. Williams that they've been working with this company for many, many, many years. So I
I've never
think,
even heard of them. Have you heard of them, Jude?
I've heard of them not through the school, but just simply because of our business. I know they are.
I don't remember the school dealing with them.
But it doesn't, that shouldn't make a difference. If it's a policy that says something has to go out to bid, it doesn't matter how long you've worked with somebody or what their recommendation might be, it still needs to go out to bid. I mean, that's the policy and that's what it was actually a warrant article at one point.
actually it wasn't more than a site analysis, I believe is what it was. So that the bidding, the work itself could be bid upon. I believe that's how it was presented to us. This was a site analysis that was going to cost the money. And before it would go out to bid to companies to do the job, the analysis was going to be done.
Well, it could go out to bid for companies to do a site analysis too.
Could, but as it was stated, they felt comfortable doing business with Harriman. I mean, if yes, you could put it out to bid, but if you don't know who you're dealing with, how do you know what you're getting?
Well, that could be said for anything.
It could, but they said they've done business with Harriman for many, many years, and that's why they felt comfortable with going with Harriman. But, I mean,
Well, I thought when this whole thing was first brought up, Harriman was gonna do this for nothing for us. And now all of a sudden it's $4,500.
well, my understanding of it was,
I thought
is
that
that
was
we
free
didn't know
at the
that.
beginning.
they wanted
They do?
first right of refusal,
Ask them.
something along those lines, but they don't wanna
Of
give
course
us
they
the
do.
whole.
They want the job.
Exactly. So, Bonnie?
Do you have minutes and notes that you'd be willing to share with the board so that we can understand what your discussions were before that may not necessarily be in the minutes, like, so that we can have what you believe to be vital information so that we can go forward in a positive direction
Should be in the minutes,
for the facilities committee or for the complete board,
either.
either?
Okay.
I mean, Steve was on the facilities committee and he was on the board, so I would think something like that he could help you. He should know that information.
All right, and what is, do you wanna, should we put it out to bid? Just get us,
I
but
think-
what are we putting, what would,
I think we need to first check out to make sure that we need to research what the warrant article was to see if we had permission to change it in August. I was not, and I did not know that that was part of the stipulation, like, that it had been approved by a warrant article. I think we need to do a little research and have that clarified, that we had permission to change that without a warrant article, and then we can move forward once we know that information.
that's a good point,
Because we do not want to be
Warrant
making a
article.
mistake, we want to make sure that we're making
Warrant article
educated
could
decisions.
change that.
You know, and if it means that we need to find someone that's gonna go back the past 20 years for warrant articles to make sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's, then that's what one of us has to do. 'Cause we
Judy,
don't-
do you remember what year that warrant article, you cited some historical
It was
information?
several years ago,
The warrant article was several years ago.
but this was brought up, last year at both the SAU meeting, and when we reviewed the policy in June of 2012, I think it was. So Andrew was there, Steve was there.
All right, thank you. Are these the correct numbers, Mr. Tercey, for non-public?
Yes, they are.
So it's 91A32, A and B?
A and B fall under 91A3, 2. So both A and B fall under that RSA.
So, okay, that's what all right. Can I have a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A3, 2A for a tuition request and B for retirement?
I will make that motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion second, all in favor?
Seer, aye.
Aye.
Fog eye.
Will that I?
Joy, I.
Brown, yes. Thank you for coming.